last year, the worst nightmare of any entrepreneur happened to me. A journalist from HS Visio started calling through our clients and trying to dig up some shady things about me or my business. And if you've ever built something from scratch, you know how terrifying that can feel. It felt violating, it felt really like scary and I wasn't in control. And especially shocking because my business started from a mission. So even before I had a business idea or like how to make money with my business, I had purpose for this business. And the mission was to help ambitious female founders and women to achieve bigger things in their careers. And I don't know if anyone of you have ever listened to my Career Girl podcast. I had this Career Girl community of thousands of women, and that is how my business got started. So it felt shocking that anyone would try to twist that. But it wasn't even the first time that I had experienced something like this, because just a couple of years before that, I was in Los Angeles. I was supposedly living my best life. It was my first time flying business class. I got the meal and everything. I was attending this amazing business event there. But actually behind the scenes, I was sick. I think I maybe had COVID. So I was in my hotel room struggling with jet lag. I was not sleeping well. I was like up in the nighttime in a dark hotel room, really not feeling good. And social media was exploding around me. I thought that everybody had turned against me. It felt like that, but of course it wasn't truth. But that has really, like, when you asked me to come here to talk and give my own experience, you asked that, like, share how it feels to be open on social media and share your life. And this is also the reality. Of course, there's a lot of good things, but this is the other side. And when you choose to be open or do something new, that was also the other thing. I was doing something new that the market or anyone hadn't seen yet, in Finland at least. You have to build also the emotional muscle to handle what comes with it. In the past few years, I have also realized that there are 3 phases that you go through when you experience something like this. And the first phase is the shock. Like, you are in shock. I remember seeing this negative online talk about me the first time, and I was so shocked that I was going to my lash appointment, and I was needing to walk to my nearest train station, and I found myself from the nearest grocery store, and I was like, what is happening? Because it was so shocking to me to have that experience. But in those moments, what you need to understand and what I've learned is that it's mainly in your head, because nothing really has actually happened. Like, your family is still your family and your friends are still your friends, and your business is still running. So that was the first phase. And the next one is denial, because when you experience something like that, you don't want to see that. So instead of stopping what I was doing, I just continued posting and running my business like usual, because also you have to remember, I had a team, I had already like lots of clients, like I couldn't just stop. But I also could choose to not look at the comment sections. So I was living in this denial, posting and ghosting, until one day when a journalist reached out to me and said that, hey, like, we would want to feature you to Talouselämä, which is a big media. And this article was amazing that they wrote about me, and they wrote this because they had seen this online conversation that I hadn't even seen myself, because I was just like not looking at my social media, just posting and ghosting. And that is when I then realized that, okay, well, if this journalist wants to write this article about me because of this negative talk, then I might as well use this attention. So that is the phase 3, owning it and using it. So nowadays, I sometimes even comment back to some of those negative critiques or whatever I see online, or I even create content about it. I even started this speech with this story about it. I'm not trying to hide it or anything, but I'm owning it and using it to build even bigger momentum for myself. And if you decide to do something meaningful, you won't avoid the criticism. And I know a lot of people are afraid of that. Like going out there, posting about your stuff and posting about yourself or building the personal brand, it feels scary. And you, like, if you are trying to avoid people not talking any negative about you, like nobody is even going to also really be magnetized towards you. But even if the worst happens, you can still rise from it stronger. And you can still keep going. Even if, like, HS Visio journalist does whatever, like, you can still keep going. And actually, I have to mention that Nora, who is here today, shared, and she's one of our team members in our sales team, and she mentioned a while back that she actually found me through that article. And she was like, I want to work in that company. So there's always the good and the bad. And then also the same day, the same journalist wanted to sit down with me at this cafe and interview me. I was terrified of that interview and what kind of article she would write. But then the same day, I had another meeting at that same cafe, Fatser Cafe in Annankatu, Helsinki, with Esa from CEO of Espoo Entrepreneurship Association. And he wanted to let me know that they would like to pick me as the Young Entrepreneur of the Year last year, same year. So like this just reminds me that you need to be okay to experience and have those tough moments, because then there's also the good that comes with it. And that resilience has definitely helped me to build my breakthrough in business in general. In 2021, my business was 7,300 in the red. I was struggling to find a way to make my business work. This was the second year I hadn't been able to pay myself salary, so I was like really thinking through like what can I do to make this happen. And this was a different kind of business, bootstrapped business. I didn't look for investors. I was building from scratch. I had a toddler at home. I wasn't sleeping well. I was even thinking about getting a part-time job at the time. And that is when I knew that everything needed to change, because my accountant was calling me like, Marianne, like you can't keep like running this business like this. I already had one year before that in the red, and now I needed to really change everything that I would do. So that is when I did completely opposite that I had done before that. And the next year I would have never ever guessed that I could be able to do this kind of growth. It just didn't recover the business, but it actually grew more than 1,000% in revenue. And I want to share, because everybody always asks, like, what made that, like, what are those changes that you did to make such incredible growth? But a little backstory of me before that, so that you know that I'm really a typical person and not like somebody who was like expecting this to happen to me. Because my background is that my dad came as an immigrant to Finland in the 90s from Democratic Republic of Congo. And he was educated in business actually as well, probably had similar aspirations as me, but he never got a job of his education level. And it was because of the racism. He was living in Raahe. I'm born from there. Like, I don't know how he ended up there. And he met there my mom, and they broke up when I was quite young, and my mom raised me as a single parent, and me and my sister, and she graduated as a nurse when I was little, and I always remember money being tight. Like, at all times, there was never excess money or any like big purchases or trips to abroad. So I always knew that whatever I would do, like, I want to also succeed financially, because I just hated the lifestyle of like not having enough money. And why I'm sharing this is that you understand that your background doesn't define your ceiling, and it doesn't define like what kind of goals you can set for yourself. Where you start has nothing to do with how far you can go or what kind of goals you can set for yourself. And the breakthrough then, how did that happen? Let's go through that. It wasn't luck, and it was actually focus. So for the first 2 years of running my business, I did a lot of different things. I was doing a podcast, I had a baby, I wrote a book, and I was even modeling, doing social media, sold a lot of online courses. I was doing all kinds of things, but nothing really took off the way that I would have wanted. Like, I made even some money, but I didn't have enough to pay myself a salary. And then the third year, we didn't hit the million back then. This is a picture from last month. But we did the growth, and I did the growth because I didn't have the team back then. I did it by focusing. I choose only one goal, and I choose to try to reach that goal with just one offer, one service that I would now start marketing. And I would only focus on one way of marketing and one way of getting sales, so that I would master the way to get clients to that one offer. And I didn't definitely expect to reach almost 900,000 in that third year in business, because the one goal that I had was just I want to reach 100,000 in a month, single month, doesn't matter after that. That is just my goal. But of course, when you start getting closer, you understand that why wouldn't I make this a consistent goal, like making $1 million in a year? So that is when the $1 million in a year goal also became my goal. And now this year we are finally reaching that as well. But there are 3 principles of that breakthrough growth that I would think that are helpful to any industry or any niche. But of course, you can see that this is my point of view, selling services and your own expertise. And the first one is finding the product market fit. So instead of having several different offers in different price points and to every different target audience, I only focused on this one offer and one service. And I would make that, now looking back, I would make it the highest possible, highest value and highest price as possible. And if you have a price in mind, I would just probably double it or something, and just just figure it out how to make it as valuable as you now have the price point in. Because the higher the value and the price, the easier it is actually to scale. Because if you think about it, the higher the price, let's say we have a 5,000 euro service versus 500 euro service. If your goal is to get to 20,000 per month, for example, in the beginning, you only need a handful of clients to get there with the higher price. So it also means less sales. I know that people who, despite sales or don't like it, they typically tend to put the smaller price point because they just hate sales. But actually you need to do more sales to get to your goal with the lower price. And then you need also less leads, and you can succeed also with the smaller audience if you have the higher price point. So the second thing, once you have the offer in place that you can sell month after month, so that you don't need to launch and come up with new things every single month or year like I did before, you then can systematize. So you can create a repeatable way of selling that product or service and delivering it. So you will have a systematized way of getting leads to the business and turning those leads into clients. And how those clients will get results, that is also systematized way. And when you have the one core offer, you don't need to come up with multiple different ways of getting clients to your business, but you can only focus on that one. And with that focus, I can guarantee you will get better results. So the third phase is multiplying. So when it comes to growth and what I did in that third year in my business when growing more than 1000%, I didn't do it alone. So once I had the products, once I had the systems, even like they weren't the best in the beginning, of course, but then I could multiply. I could get other people to help me run those systems with me. So I could have team members, I could have automations, everything to multiply the business. So it's not just like adding more, but it's actually reducing a lot of things that you're currently already doing. Because growing always requires letting go. I'm currently writing my book, Breakthrough from Solo Hustle to Scalable Success, specialized for expert entrepreneurs who want to scale their skills and their own knowledge business. And when I have been reflecting back, like what is the one thing that I could say that has really always been there when I have grown the business, it has been letting go of things, letting go of offers that no longer fit, letting go of, like if I had 5 different things, I would only choose the one that would be that I could sell, and then letting go of the tasks. So there is a time where you don't have to do all the things yourself, and everything is something that you can delegate, like every single thing in the business. So that is also another thing, that when I let go of the offers, then I started letting go of the tasks and let some other people run that for me. So instead of me being the bottleneck, I would have somebody full-time taking care of some own things in the business with me. And yes, the last thing is letting go of the identity of being the one who does it all. So definitely having the mindset of not even trying to be that one who can do it all. And when you have bootstrapped your business like this, I really think that it's not just like getting the team members, it's not just to grow the business, but actually just like buying back your time. Because you start the business, you hustle, you do all of that. For the first 2 years, I was alone. I had my baby, and it was really long days without any results. So of course, eventually when you start making some money, it just makes more sense for you to free up your time and get other people to buy your time back. So that is what took my business from my kitchen table, from an idea, to now this year hitting 1 million in revenue. And you might think that this is it, like now you've made it and now this is the big goal that I've had for several years. And yes, we celebrated with the team, and that is what we definitely wanted to have, that milestone moment. But for me, once you see that you can do something like that, something incredible that you thought at some point that you wouldn't be even, you didn't even dream about, then you start wondering, could I do actually even more? And that is what I have learned from Dan Sullivan, an American 80-year-old business coach. And this is one of my favorite books. I would really recommend you to take this book and read it, or listening to it from Audible. 10x is easier than 2x. I really believe in that. I had read that already after I had had my first 10x growth leap in the business. But I would still say that when I read it, I understood that most of the concepts there are really what I also did to do that 10x jump. And once you see that something that you didn't believe was possible, you really start to believe that, okay, well, I can do it again. And so now we want to 10x again the business, and not just the revenue, but 10x the operations, 10x the way we are operating. I want us to be a world-class, really well-oiled business, that it doesn't look scrappy or anything. We want to just improve the way we are working. We want to 10x also the client's experience, the client's results, get 10 times bigger and better results for our clients, and as well 10 times bigger impact globally. That is what we are now also aiming for, and yeah, so that is what we currently have in mind. And because of that, I have gone through a lot of these types of events, but I've also visited a lot of countries and different business masterminds, events to meet the top people in their industries. Like for example, Emma Creed last summer from Skims, like she pretty much runs with her husband the whole Kardashian businesses. Or Sabri Subi, one of the leading online marketers that I met in Dubai. Or like Dan Sullivan in the UK, who wrote the book and a couple of my other favorite books. And one thing that I've learned from all of these people is that there isn't actually any magic formula or like a silver bullet that can take you to world domination or whatever goal you have. They just do the basic stuff at world-class standard. So they just do the basic stuff so well that it's just like a lot better and better done than most other people. And I really resonate with what Annika said, that in Finland, I don't want to say this like as a bad way, but there, like it's easier here to succeed because quite a lot of things are quite mediocre. Like it's not hard to do a little bit better than others in here, but maybe it is because there's quite like not so many people in here, and the competition internationally is so much like bigger. So that is the thing. And one thing that Jens Krede himself said that I really took to heart was that I have never seen excellent people fail. Just try to be great. And like that was like the key. Like you just have to do whatever you're doing just better. And that is the way. You can't fail by just doing it better and better every day, every single day. And another thing is that excellence takes time. Like none of those people were overnight success. And my entrepreneurial journey started when I was 20. Like that is when I started my first business. So next year will be my 10th year already in business. So I don't believe that there are those overnight successes. And excellence also takes people. Like you need the support system, not just from your team, but also like excellent people around you as mentors, as coaches. Like we strongly use that in our business. We have consultants come to help our team in certain areas when we are struggling at something. And excellence is also a choice. Like you can decide today to start excelling at whatever you're already doing, your studies or your projects where you're in. I would actually have to say that I never tried to excel in my studies, even though I have graduated. But like, I would say that whatever like is your passion project, like you can already start like trying to do it better and like look at what the best in the world are doing and like try to measure yourself towards those and not just the person in the same location as you, because that is how the unstoppable momentum is built. And there are 3 lessons for you and for your own breakthrough that I want to like give you some concrete, tangible tips. And the first thing is to definitely like raise the standard, raise your goals. Like really, everything has always changed for me when I raised my own goals. And for example, a concrete example of my book launch, I didn't have any plans for it. Then 6 months, a little bit over 6 months before the book is going to be launched, I was thinking that, oh, what should I do? And I watched this video and I was inspired by Alex Hormozy, who did this $100 million book launch. And then I was like, okay, we don't have any goals for my book. So we set a lot higher goal, not 100 million actually, but like a little bit less, but a little bit more than what I had initially thought. And that was like, once I set that bigger goal, then I knew that, okay, well, I need to get the best people to do this. And then we hired a small team to run it because I don't want to like have my current team who are already busy with their day-to-day job to like worry about the book launch as well. So I wouldn't have invested in that other team if I wasn't having that huge goal. And this billionaire advice on the slides is that big goals and small goals are both hard to achieve. So you might as well make them big. So it's worth pushing through the inevitable hard times. And definitely I struggle with my little disbelief now and then, but I have proven myself so many times wrong that I can actually achieve whatever I set for myself, so that it has proven every time that at least you have a new lesson and you probably still get to a lot higher numbers or whatever if you just set that higher goal. So how you then come up with your 10x goal? Write down your current goal. You can do this exercise later because you need some time to think, and cross it out and then multiply it by 10. So if you have whatever goal right now, you can multiply it by 10 and start thinking and what has happened for you in order to reach that goal. And if it feels hard for your brain to think about the strategy, like how did you get there, stretch the timeline, because once you give yourself 10 or even 20 years, it suddenly gives you all these new opportunities. These big goals open up new possibilities that you didn't probably even think. Like if you had 10 years time to reach your goal, and you now just think about it, even if it doesn't have to take that long for real, but if you just think about it, you will end up with different strategies than if you were thinking that I will reach this goal in 90 days or next year. I guarantee you will have a totally different business plan if you give yourself permission to think a little bit long term. And the second thing is that give yourself more brain time. The bigger the goal, the more brain time you need, because well-being is not just eating healthy or exercising. It's actually just blocking down the noise and trying to be really in silence, switching off your phone and giving your brain the space to think. I have my phone muted at all times. In some cases where I could be listening to podcasts, like when I'm doing my makeup or when I'm running or whatever, I could be listening to music or podcasts, but I consciously don't do that because I know that the answers are already in my brain, so I just need to give myself the time to think. And the third thing is how you measure success. So whenever I have felt negative about my business, it was always because I was comparing myself to either to someone else or to a vision I hadn't reached yet. Where we are today and where we want to go, there is always going to be this gap. So the truth is that the only way to stay motivated and sane is to measure backwards. If you take your phone and you scroll down to a picture of you 5 years ago, I can guarantee that you will be happy about the achievements that you've already done, because comparing yourself not to the ideal in your head and not to other people, but to your own past self is mandatory when you want to achieve these big things. Because you will feel proud of yourself. If you think about yourself 5 years ago, wherever you were, you are proud of yourself, you got maybe to the school you wanted, you got the job you wanted or whatever. And you will also remember all those achievements that you've already achieved, and that will make you feel optimistic about the future, because of course you can see already that I have achieved so much in that time, and that will give you the confidence that we need in order to get to those 10x goals. And that will also make you feel successful. And that is the only way to maintain that feeling and not feel frustrated and left behind if you're only measuring forward and to others, seeing how fast others are getting to their goals or whatever. So this is the picture, you should always be measuring your success backwards, where you were, and not to the ideal finish or other people. And there's this book that was already in the slides, Gap and the Gain, and I really recommend that as well. And my daily routine for this, to maintain this mindset, is that I write down 3 wins of the day every single evening. Also today I will go home and take my notebook and write down 3 wins. They can be as small as just like stretching in the evening, or I didn't yell to my 5-year-old even though I was like, or whatever it might be. And also they can be as big as closing the biggest deal or whatever they might be. And then I also write 3 wins for tomorrow. So I already predict to win tomorrow. And I prefer to write down, instead of saying that I will close the big deal, I would write down that I will follow up and do my best to follow up to 5 leads or whatever, so that I know that I can actually impact the outcome of that. So as you build, I want you to now remember that your background doesn't dictate your future. You can set yourself these goals, even though you weren't from an entrepreneurial family or like whatever. And I know that a lot of people are really thinking these things, because I met this one young lady who was worried about her own entrepreneur, like she didn't even want to become an entrepreneur, even if she was clearly an entrepreneurial person, but she had just seen her father struggle with his business her whole childhood. And I said that my father didn't even get the job because of the like racism and all the kind of things in his life. And I don't let that stop me. And the second thing is that if you give yourself the permission to start thinking bigger, you will actually give the permission to all the other people around you as well. Because I see that there is this like need, especially for us women, to like explain ourselves, like why do we want these huge goals? And like I'm not motivated by money or the titles or whatever, but you can actually just like set your goals whatever you want. Like there doesn't need to be a bigger reason even behind it. And I see that a lot more men are like that. They're just straightforward. They want to build the big companies. They want to be the CEOs. So I would like to see the same in women as well. And the third thing is that those breakthroughs, they aren't luck. Like you can decide to do that. And you can decide to do it already today. Like it doesn't need to be this like lucky thing that happens to you, but you can actually make it happen for yourself. Thank you.